The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
Hi, I just wanted to say a word about the episode you're about to watch. This happened on Friday, the 12th of March. And basically, here's what led up to the show. And the first thing I noticed is that my earphones that I use are busted. So you will notice on this episode that I have my wife's lovely pink earbuds to use to monitor the audio in the show. That's minor. Well, okay, I always do a speed test on my internet before I start the show, and the internet sucked. AT&T, it was running very, very slow. So I did what people do. I rebooted the router. The router came back up, no problem, except that the internet actually sucked worse. But I have a cell phone with plenty of data. The only problem with using the cell phone to hotspot to do the show is that it disables my little scene switcher remote that I have on my phone. I can live with that. When I got on Skype with Chad, my webcam kept going green on his end. Now, it was working on my software. I should have just went on with it and left it, but I wanted him to be able to watch the video feed from the show. So I restarted my computer, but apparently I missed the part where there was a Windows update lurking in the background because I just installed one earlier that day. But anyway, I restarted it. 20-30 minutes later, it finally gets done updating. That's when it really went south. Once the Windows update finished, then I logged back in on Skype, called Chad, and my camera was still a little hinky, but I said, okay, Chad can live with it. So then we called Victor, my guest for the evening, and Victor could not get his video on Skype to work. We messed around with it, hung up. He tried calling me. I tried calling him. Could not get video. So, backup plan. Zoom. It's not as pretty on screen, but it works. So we had a Zoom meeting already set up for his 10 o'clock psychic gallery. And he logged in. I logged in, no problem. Chad logs in, crashes his computer. So we have to wait for Chad to reboot his computer now. And at this point, we're already 15-20 minutes past the show start time. So everyone, that is what happens when we have a psychic on Scarefest TV. Okay. And hello, everyone, and welcome to another train wreck episode of Scarefest TV. The original broadcast date is March 12th, 2021. We are running 30 minutes late tonight, so we're going to do an abbreviated show, no commercial breaks, just me, Chad Harlan, and our guest, Victor Paruta. And then we're going to do the show quick. We'll go back and add the commercials and all the bells and whistles after the fact. Victor, sorry, by the way, everybody, we do have celebrity announcements. We'll do them at 10 o'clock. We'll do them at the end of the 30 minutes so that you can still have your fix on who is coming to Scarefest 2021. So, Victor, we'll just get right into the interview. Everybody knows, of course, Victor Paruta. I met him down to Owensboro, Kentucky, 2-3 years ago, whatever it was. And you are, clairvoyance, mediumship, psychometry. Reading tarot. You cover all the bases on being a psychic. But I do have to ask, how does one get voted Cincinnati's best psychic by Cincinnati Magazine?
Okay, I'll tell you how that happened. It happened without me knowing it was going to happen. So apparently somebody from the magazine scheduled a reading with me without me knowing they were from Cincinnati Magazine. And she liked the reading. I guess she'd had a few with the psychics in town. And so when the issue came out, a friend of mine called me and said, how the heck did you manage to get Best Psychic in Cincinnati Magazine? I didn't even know I'd gotten it. So it was a complete surprise to me. And I did not see it coming, but they're a really nice group of folks at Cincinnati Magazine, and I really appreciate them. They've had me do readings at some of their events, including pet readings. So it was an honor.
Well, you're lucky they're nice people, because that's the same way ambush stuff happens. They show up and...
Well, that's happened to me too.
Oh, has it? Okay, well, fair enough. Now, from all accounts, and I've never had a reading with you or anything. I'll get to see that tonight, hopefully in the Patreon project. But from all accounts, you're a very, very gifted psychic. When did you realize your gifts? When did they come to fruition, if you will?
Well, I always had that interest ever since I was a little kid. You know, I was the kid that made mom buy me the palmistry, numerology, and astrology books when I was 5 years old. I mean, it was there. The interest was there from the start. And I started meditating when I was 15, did the Transcendental Meditation thing. And when I was 17, I found a Theosophical Society book called The Inner Life by Charles Ledbetter. And it was my first introduction to Theosophy, which is a metaphysical kind of Eastern religion, kind of New Age kind of hybrid for the Western audiences. And it explained reincarnation. It explained devas, the spirits in the trees, what happens after death, what happens to animals after that death. And I just ate that up. And it was exactly what I was looking for. And it gave me all the answers I had not found anywhere else. And so it kind of started me on this search for answers that actually made sense. And one day, a friend of mine handed me a divination deck. It's kind of similar to tarot, but it's called Schuster cards. And I started doing those in my 20s. And my God, I practiced those cards so much, the book fell apart. I had to have it rebound. And then it just started evolving. I started doing readings for people for free, you know, just card readings. And then they started coming back because the readings were accurate. And then I had an experience where I shook somebody's hand and I got a vision in my mind's eye of the house that they grew up in. And I asked about the details, you know, that I was seeing. I said, did you have a strawberry patch over to the left of the house? And was it fenced in? And yes. The answers were all yes. And I realized that through shaking that person's hand, I really connected with their energy on a psychic level. So that was one of my first introductions. And so then I started doing readings, kind of my own form of palmistry, where instead of really looking at the lines, and I used to know what all the lines meant. I don't know what they all mean now, but the way I read palms now is through psychometry. It's kind of like holding an object and you can get the energy off the object. And so I would move my hand around somebody's palm and I'd get different images that came into my mind. I work I'm a clairvoyant. And an image is you just see things, you know, you get images that come into your mind that are loaded with information. And I always tell my clients, it's kind of like that phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So once you start looking at the pictures, they start moving and unfolding. And so that's kind of how I got into that. And it kept evolving kind of in my own natural way. A friend of mine died and he communicated with me from beyond. He spoke through me to a friend of ours. So I started doing channeling. These channels opened. So it just kept unfolding. I think it was just part of my destiny, Wes, pretty much.
I will say that is the most unique how I became a psychic story I think I've ever heard. Everybody else saw ghosts when they were little. I had remote viewing things that kind of cued me into that I might be able to do certain things. But no, your story reflects how I got into ghost hunting. I watched too much TV, so that's
It always evolves. Even now, it evolves, and you no matter how much you learn about certain topics, you can never learn it all. Paranormal investigating's like that. Astrology's like that. Psychic topics are like that. You never learn it all. You can't. You don't live long enough. And even if you live to be 500 years, there's probably more you can learn about. So it's kind of a living subject matter.
So, quick follow up: Do you believe in reincarnation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you got time. Don't worry about it.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I have no idea what I used to be other than middle management or some bullshit like that. But yeah.
Well, it's the only thing that really makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense is that God would create a human being, and if they made a mistake, they'd go to hell. And if they were good, they'd go to heaven, and that's it. And that doesn't make any sense to me.
No, well, I always said that I hate to think that I'm going to share a park bench with Hitler because I was shitty to my 12th grade girlfriend. So yeah, I do think there's more to it than a lot of us understand.
There's a lot more to everything than we understand.
Come visit the Universal Energy Expo, May 1st and 2nd at the Northern Kentucky Convention Center. Meet special guests, Shaman Coyote Chris Sutton and Psychic Southern Gypsies. Over 100 readers, healers, and vendors. Admission also includes door prizes, workshops, and all seminars. The Universal Energy Expo. Come curious, leave enlightened.
Mama Ruby offers fun vendor-based events that focus primarily on the metaphysical and spiritual aspects of our lives. Well, 2020 didn't go as planned, to say the least. Since Mama Ruby's can't bring the vendors to you in person, they still encourage you to support them online. For links to these and other outstanding artists, craftspeople, vendors, and psychics, visit mamarubies.com and click shop.
Hey, Scarefest fans, this is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. I'm finally, 2 years later, getting to review a movie that I've wanted to watch for a while, 2018's The House That Jack Built. Now, a lot of you probably haven't seen it, and that's okay. And you may be familiar, you may not be familiar with the director's work. It's Lars von Trier, and I've talked about him on here a couple of times. It stars Matt Dillon. It has a small role with Uma Thurman in it, from Kill Bill. There's a few other actors I could talk about, but what it's about is this. Jack is a serial killer, and he's talking to some sort of existential thing at the end of his life, and he's recounting all the kills and whatnot that's happened to him, or at least most of them, to build where he's at through several acts to get to the end of the movie, to where he goes to the underworld. Jack is played by Matt Dillon, who does an okay job, and it's a Lars von Trier film. Now, if you don't know who that is, if you've ever seen Antichrist, Melancholia, those types of film, Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2, he is a artist, okay? He's an artist. He makes art. Now, the issue is he an entertainer? No, he's an artist. And here's the difference. An entertainer wants to entertain you. An artist wants to make art. I'm an entertainer. He's an artist. He didn't care if he pisses you off. Like, all right, I don't know if I do either, but I do want you to be entertained. Lars von Trier, not so much. His movies are an experience, and it's often not a pleasant one. And people always go, why would you watch that shit if it isn't pleasant? Well, because it's art. It's eye-opening, and it can be entertaining in a sense. He's never made a movie that I didn't appreciate. The House that Jack Built is not one of my favorite ones I've seen. Now, there is a scene in it with a baby duck, and I looked it up. It's fake. It was faked, because even if it was real, I only have like a couple of morals, and one of them is I wouldn't review it. It's a lot to take in. Some of the scenes are kind of violent, and the violence builds. And basically what the movie is about isn't necessarily, I don't think it's about Jack the serial killer. I think it's about Lars looking back at the career and the shit that he's got away with. I think it's fairly simple and very right there on the top. I got to do this and this and this. He did the original Kingdom Hospital in Europe, and it literally has a full-grown man coming out of a woman's vagina being birthed. In fact, the shot is used in the house that Jack built. I enjoyed it. I can recommend it if you have a certain kind of personality. If you've ever seen any of those other films and can appreciate those as art, then yes, The House that Jack Built. It's on Hulu, so if you have Hulu, it's free with it. Well, you're paying your subscription, you can watch it. For some of you, it's going to be 2.5 hours and go, what the hell was that? And there's some funny scenes. There's some funny scenes because, see, Jack gets away with a lot. Jack gets away with a lot. Says, I think there's even more to say about our society of as much Jack is getting away with. If you've seen American Psycho, you wonder, how did he get away with? Well, yeah. Some people just get away with shit, don't they? House that Jack Built on Hulu, Lars von Trier. Check it out. It's about 2.5 hours long. It's got a lot of, it's art. Put that into your head. It's art. He's not there to entertain you. He's there to show you something interesting. And whether you like Lars von Trier or not, his movies are always interesting. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. Thank you so much.
I'm kind of curious right now. You talked about your connection to the other side and the images and stuff you get. Have you noticed a shift or a change during COVID as to the activity of the spirits and your connections?
I don't think that's a great question, by the way, Chad. Of course, COVID has changed everything, but I don't really think it's changed the spirit world too much. It's certainly changed, going on paranormal investigations. We really don't do that. I used to do in-person readings, and this entire past year, I've been doing all my readings by phone and on Zoom. And I can do readings just as accurately that way as I can in person and stay safe. So it's what's really cool, though, is with Zoom, I can communicate with people all over the world, and it's almost like you're face-to-face. I mean, you and I right now are face-to-face. I mean, we're looking at each other, and I can read your aura through the video. What's really cool is I was interviewed by George Norrie on Gaia TV on Beyond Belief. And last winter, I realized, or the winter before this past winter, I was just on Amazon Prime Video, just looking for shows to watch. And I realized my episodes were Amazon Prime Video. So season 2, episodes 11 and 13. So I had 2 interviews by George Norrie, and they went really well. And now people are calling me from all over the world for readings, and we're doing readings on Zoom. And it's so cool to be able to connect in real time with people all over the planet. So it's pretty miraculous when you think about it.
Yeah, I think it's given us a lot of opportunities in all aspects of our life, but it's certainly interesting to see how it applies to this field. When you work with people, you talked about the psychometry and seeing pictures of a house. Is normally your connection more through pictures and images or direct communication?
It's multi-sensory, so it's pictures. I'm getting clairaudience, you know, where I can get hear voices. It's really weird when that kicks in. It's almost like an EVP, the way spirit sounds in my ear to my ear, or to my clairaudience. It sounds like those recordings of EVPs that you get when you do an investigation. But it's multisensory. I mean, all the senses are involved. I can get tastes, I can get smells, I can just get sensations, physical sensations. You know, your physical body is really a big psychic antenna that's really giving you a lot of information if you pay attention to what's going on in your body. And a lot of that information is transmitted through physical sensations. And, you know, you'll get that when you meet somebody new. You'll either light up, or you'll get this sinking feeling in your stomach or in your chest, you know, this feeling of dread. That's psychic information. You know, you and I are having a conversation on a conscious level. We're looking at each other and we're listening to what we're saying. But on an energy level, you and I are connecting and exchanging a lot more information than we're aware of. And so during a reading, after we've had a short conversation, all I have to do is close my eyes and the information's right there. As the energy turns into pictures and information. Communicating with spirits, as far as mediumship goes, is such an interesting experience. It's interesting the way they come in, the way that they identify themselves, the messages that they provide. You know, so I realize that being a psychic is a calling. It's something I love doing. It's something I enjoy, but it also fulfills a need in society for a type of soul level healing that you may not be able to receive elsewhere, you know?
Absolutely. And it's always so fascinating to me to hear how different mediums and psychics have a different connection, and the way they receive the information so different. So I appreciate your sharing that with me. Let me throw it back over to Wes for a while.
On that point, Chad, I was telling Victor, okay, now we, on the Patreon project, he will be our 4th psychic coming in to do a Zoom gallery. And what has amazed me, they don't even resemble each other. The 4 that we've had, it's like watching 4 completely different movies, in other words. Now, I guess you had already been doing a lot of online readings before the Armageddon, before the apocalypse.
Armageddon, yeah, it sure has been a challenge. And my God, it's the 1-year anniversary of COVID. Do you believe it? It feels like it's been 10 years.
As I used to announce the date on the show, it was the umpteenth of Toyotathon. Who the hell knows? You know.
I know, we're also very altered, you know, from the COVID experience, Wes. And I think with the way we come out of COVID, it's going to be a very interesting experience. I think we're coming out of it kind of slow, which is the way we're supposed to, you know, getting vaccinated, and you know, life will kind of return to normal, but in other ways it will never return to normal. So many people have died. The way we think has changed. I'll tell you what has changed is we're not taking the things that we took for granted anymore, are we?
No, one of my popular things, okay, now my wife, my producer, is a hugger. Okay, so everyone assumes, oh, he's married to her, he's a hugger too. Not so much. I mean, I don't, you know, but I miss hugs. I totally want to hug everybody once I get my shot. I mean,
oh my God. I miss the hug so much. I miss being able to hang out with friends, do anything. You know, it's been a really tough year. But yeah, I've been doing phone readings. You know, Wes, with psychic stuff, with psychic work, you don't really know what you're capable of doing. I guess that's how it is with life in general. You don't know what you can do until you give it a try, right?
Well, that's why I asked it the way I did. Before, I'll put it this way. It had barely even occurred to me to do anything virtually other than just have conversations like this. In other words, people have asked me, about doing, and I'd played around with doing tarot readings on Skype, but I never really pursued it because I like that personal connection. When I do the reading, I'm there, and it's face to face, and I like feeling that close connection with someone. And now next month, I am going to try to do my first ever virtual, really bad tarot card reading. And I'm not going to say I'm nervous about it, but I just, I don't get that. I've never tried, I should say, to get that connection psychically to someone to do something.
The cool thing about psychic stuff and just energy in general, it isn't limited by time and space. I could read somebody on the other end of the world and read them just as accurately as somebody sitting right next to me. And, energy flows over media like this, just as it does over the phone. So it's all possible. How many dreams have you had where you've had gotten a phone call with a loved one who's deceased? Is that really a dream? It's not really a dream. It seems like a dream, but the communication really does happen.
Oddly enough, as psychically tuned in as I think that I am, that's something that I do not do is dream about dead people.
You've never had a dream where you visited with a dead person?
I'm not going to say never, but to use an example, okay, my father passed away a few years ago. And some psychics wanted to do readings with him. And I said, I will only know it's him if he tells me one thing. Even if he doesn't mean it, I have passed this through my spirit guides. If he doesn't say this one thing, I'm not going to believe it's him. And to date, nobody has. And most of my friend psychics, the one I trust, have kind of touched on the emotion, but they've not done a full out reading. So one thing I actually hoped that would, I meditated on it, and I was waiting because everybody said your dad will come to you in your dreams. Since he passed away, and this has been 6 years, I've had maybe 2, maybe 3 dreams where he was in the dream, and he has yet to speak to me in a dream. He'll be there, but we don't converse. We're just together doing something. So
yes, and that's a presence. You probably cherish those dreams, and they're probably very healing for you on some level.
I won't deny that, but I'm just saying but now when I've had remote viewing dreams, deadly accurate. In other words, I know that I get information through my dreams. Now, of course, I tell everybody 90% of my dreams are my spirit guides putting me through boot camp, trying to teach me some lesson that they're too opaque to just tell me.
Dreaming is we can't live without dreaming. They've done experiments where they've kept people awake. They wouldn't let them go to sleep. What starts happening is the dreams intrude into their waking lives. They start hallucinating. We can't survive without dreaming. Dreaming is an essential quality that our brains need to reset our minds and to integrate our experiences. So dreams are, critically important. And there's a lot that goes on when we dream. It's really very important. They're very compensatory also. Like a lot of times if you're really stressed out in your day-to-day life, you might have a dream where you're laughing and having fun to kind of counterbalance the stressful time you're in. And that's happened to me, so that's a whole big, huge topic there.
movie. Fans for life. On Facebook, find us. For watch parties. For news. For memes. For friends. For life. Horror movie fans for life. Join us.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil. Most of us know that CBD is a cannabis compound that has significant medical benefits, but does not make people high. Its benefits include pain relief, anti-seizure properties, anxiety relief, fights cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and it is even used as a sleep aid. Blue Leaf Naturals CBD and hemp products are full-spectrum hemp extract oils. They use only hemp grown in Kentucky, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses and helping you and your family stay healthy and well. Blue Leaf Naturals, created with care from seed to shelf. Visit their website at blueleafnaturals.com. Blue Leaf Naturals, a Kentucky proud company.
Horror movie history this week brings us the Stephen King short story adaptation of Children of the Corn back in 1984. A cornfield in Gatlin, Nebraska is taken over by an evil force known as He Who Walks Behind the Rose. This force controls the children of this town and makes them kill anyone over the age of 18. When an unsuspecting couple stumbles into the town after finding a dead body, the leader of the children, known as Preacher Isaac, and his followers try to sacrifice the couple. What follows is a brutal slasher film, and although Children of the Corn was not a commercial success, it is still loved by horror fans and has a solid cult following.
You've mentioned paranormal a couple of times. I believe you do some paranormal investigations. How do your abilities kind of translate to that, and how do you use them? How does it help you out?
I love doing paranormal investigating. It's as a clairvoyant and a psychic medium. It's kind of when I'm doing a paranormal investigation, I'm really on. You know, it's like my antenna are up. So I kind of like my perceptive mode is on. And you know, some of the paranormal investigations that I look back on, the ones that I've done, they've just blown me away. You know, some of the things that have happened, you know, some of the things that the spirits have been able to do, some of the experiences I've had, some of the experiences the people that I've investigated with have done. I remember one of my early paranormal investigations with a group. There was some paranormal activity out in Adams County over by Serpent Mound in Ohio. And so the group met out there, and several days before the investigation was scheduled, I started getting information. And on the drive out there, you know, the spirits, the spirit world, they were making contact with me all the way there, kind of introducing themselves and really assisting with the investigation. And I found the ghost right away. I mean, and I described him, and I said, I see him, and he was trying to hide. They try to hide, especially if they know you can see them, and even especially if they know you're there to clear them out, because they don't want to leave. So they try to hide. But, I know how to clear them. And, the clearings I do are rather effective. So I saw the guy who was really skinny. He looked kind of a weird looking guy. And so the owner of the house says, well, is this him? And he showed me a picture, and it was him. And the guy was weird looking. But a lot of times ghosts like this one that are kind of dysfunctional and controlling, and they can trap other spirits in that house. So this man's mom was trapped there as well. He wouldn't.
Wow.
He was just very controlling. But the investigative team came with all their equipment, and there's lots of equipment. I mean, I don't know if I'm really investigator, but there is so much equipment out there for doing paranormal investigations. It's really cool to explore the technical side of paranormal investigating. But I do the psychic medium or the psychic level of the paranormal investigation, where I'm actually seeing spirits or interacting with them and finding out what's really going on at a location. So when I cleared the ghost from this home, all the equipment stopped.
Oh, wow.
And the tech team came out of the room where they were with all their equipment, and they said, I don't know what just happened, but it all just stopped working. And I said, well, that's because I cleared the ghost. So there were no presences registering on your equipment. But it was so cool to get that validation that the equipment provided for the success of the clearing that I had done.
Yeah, some of the most interesting things I've ever seen in investigations is when the technology and the gift side of it match up and verify each other. It's certainly a treat when that happens, and you can witness that.
It is amazing. And when you're doing paranormal investigating, the things you see, the types of entities you meet, everything from, earthbound spirits that are 100% lost. They have no idea where they are, what's happening to them. To them, it's like they're running around in a really thick, dark fog. They can't see anything. They're scared. They'll try to crawl inside of you. They'll try to possess you. Not really in a malevolent kind of way, but they just don't know where to go. So they'll jump into somebody, or sometimes even into an object, and kind of hide there. But eventually the light starts coming on, and they almost always, after a while, are able to make it all the way to the other side, where they're no longer earthbound, but they've transcended. They're in the spirit world. They're in heaven, I guess, is the words I use, because everybody understands the concept of heaven. It's where you go after you die. And when they're up there, they can come visit us. And then they could also go back. So it's really a privilege and an honor to be a psychic medium and to do this work. It's our society doesn't understand it. I mean, there's a lot of mystique and a lot of misunderstanding about it. But who are you going to call? I mean, if you got a ghost, who are you going to call, right? You're not going to call your parents. You're not going to call the priest. I mean, you might. But some of them will go running out of the house if they hear something or see something. You're going to call somebody that knows what they're doing, that can help you. I mean, there are so many different things in the spirit world and so many different inhabitants of the various planes of the spirit world that there are things that you don't even know what they are. But then there are lots of things that you know what they are. We're not alone in this world. We share this world with an infinite number of other beings other than human beings. And we can interact with those during paranormal investigations. It's fascinating. Some of them are benevolent and some of them are malevolent. I mean, there are dark forces in the world.
And like I said, that's the part that always fascinates me. Is it's exactly and those are the questions from a paranormal investigator side: is what are we dealing with, what are we working with, what's causing the responses we get, and having a psychic medium kind of verify what the equipment's saying is always interesting and a treat when it happens. But let me.
Spirit Mechanics is here to help. Their background includes many different specialties across the metaphysical spectrum, including alchemy, shamanism, Celtic witchcraft, angelic magic, astral travel, and more.
With over 30 years combined experience in the group, you can be confident in their ability to help. If there is a question you have that you cannot answer, they will do their best to assist you.
Metaphysics can be intimidating, confusing, and unfortunately, abused. Spirit Mechanics takes pride in being selfless in the pursuit of helping others, being humble and honest with their clients about their questions, and lastly maintaining a professional and personable atmosphere. They want you to feel as you are coming to a close friend, and they will do everything in their power to make you comfortable and safe.
TellMeTarot.com. Rare tarot and oracle decks for the discerning enthusiast or collector. Odd decks are not for everyone. If you are a rare deck collector, art collector, or simply fall in love with a deck, then we might be for you. Right now, get 10% off your first order just for subscribing to their newsletter. Shipping is just $5.99 in the United States. TellMeTarot.com.
We're going to hit our announcements real quick, everybody, for Scarefest 2021, and then we'll shut down the broadcast and we will go into his psychic gallery, because as you can see, the patrons are already starting to show up for their psychic reading. The only thing but I'm going to say, I think you give ghosts too much credit, Victor. Most of the ones I meet are just needy. That's a word I like. Needy people that cannot follow instructions. Okay, everybody. Our first celebrity announcement for Scarefest 2021, Tony Moran. Of course, we announced him for 2020. We had to cancel that, but Tony Moran of Halloween fame. Next up, let's have Leslie Easterbrook. And of course, among her horror things, we all know her from Police Academy. Rob Mello. If you want to find out about Rob Mello from Happy Death Day 1 and 2, go back through the Scarefest TV archives, and we interviewed him. It was quite the evening. Let's see, we're next up. Oops. Also announced from 2020, Paul Bradford. Now, Paul is our first paranormal announcement of the year. Because we had him booked last year, we wanted to make sure that we got him out before. We're getting ready to announce more people, so calm your heels, people. We will have more paranormal announcements. And this is one I'm looking forward to. New announcement for Scarefest 2021. Mr. William Forsythe, also of Halloween fame, Devil's Rejects, The Rock, and a whole bunch more. William Forsythe will be coming, Uncle Willie as I like to call him, will be coming to Scarefest. Next week on Scarefest TV, we're looking for Jennifer Banco of Friday the 13th, Part 7, I believe it was. And so we'll get back in touch with her, but we've had her booked for a while, and need to turn that one off tonight. Don't forget the after party. You can still got time. Go to patreon.com/scarefestradio, and you can join the Patreon project, and go ahead and jump in on this. These psychic readings are our most popular feature so far. Everybody, don't forget tickets are on sale for Scarefest, thescarefest.com. Weirdly enough, everybody is buying Friday night tickets. I have not figured that out. The other tickets are selling, but the Friday night tickets are selling like 5-1 over everything else. Someone can text me and explain to me why those are selling out, because Friday night is usually the light night, and it's not hard to get a ticket at the door. But hey, we will take it. Throw Axes with Killers. We've got our axe throwing tickets on sale. This is a very popular event. Go to thescarefest.com. You'll find a link to explain what is going on. But we have 4 celebrities signed up right now. Maximum of 9. I think, we cannot. In other words, we can only hold so many people. So the axe throwing tickets are on sale. This is a new one. We are now taking film festival entries. Film festival entries. If you know an independent filmmaker who has something released in the last couple of years and wants to enter the Scarefest Film Festival, that is also online. Go to thescarefest.com. You can click the Film Festival link, or go to filmfreeway.com and find the Scarefest. Incidentally, also on the Patreon project, we will be helping judge the films. We're going to release one a week to our subscribers for them to watch and help us judge. So you will be a part of Scarefest. Speaker applications are in line. The deadline on that's coming up in May. So you still got a little time, but if you want to speak at the Scarefest, it never hurts, because a lot of times we go ahead and we book you on this show to find out if you actually know what you're talking about. And finally, I just want to remind everybody, the Scarefest gift shop is open for business at scarefestradio.com. We have COVID masks, we have trucker hats, we have Scarefest The Lost Year t-shirts. All that is on sale. Want to thank everybody. Yep, Chad is wearing his, but I didn't flip to that camera, so it doesn't matter.